Hello viewers, and welcome to another installment of the Dimension 68000 series. This time we're going to take a look at the Apple II Plus emulation. Just briefly, the Dimension 68000 came out in about the mid-1980s, and its claim to fame was that it could emulate an IBM PC, an Apple II Plus, or any of the various Z80 computers such as K-Pro, Osborne, Chromium Co., and so on. Now this emulation was carried out by plug-in expansion cards that had the appropriate processor on it. So I suppose if you wanted to have all of them, it would be rather expensive back in the day. Now I have a little utility here, if I could spell right, because it's not something you type very often, and it will tell us what cards are in the expansion slots. So in slot 1 is the 8086 emulator, slot 2 is nothing, slot 3 is a Z80, slot 4 Apple, slot 5 is 512K of RAM, and slot 6 is the RGB output. So let's just get right into the Apple II Plus. We'll start by firing up the emulator. Now I can remove my CPM 68K boot disk from drive A, and I can now put an Apple II Plus boot disk in drive A. Now this screen shows what the configuration is for the Apple emulation, and you can change it by pressing the appropriate function key, but I leave it just the way it is. Now what I am going to do is turn on the caps lock, because I always forget to do that, and a lot of the Apple games require capital letters for the inputs. So let's start with a good one, and it's going to be mostly games because that's what I have. Borrowed these from a friend. And we will start with, I want to start with Artie the Aardvark, but he seems to have run off. Where? Oh, here he is. Okay, Artie the Aardvark. Press return. Now the first thing you notice is there's no color. I'm not seeing any color in any of the games, nor have I seen any color when running the IBM PC emulation. I'll press return to start the game. Go, go, Gadget Floppy. Now, believe it or not, it will work with a joystick on the emulation. So I'm going to press J for joystick and A for Apple joystick. It really isn't an Apple joystick, it's actually a Gravis PC gamepad. Now I've never owned an Apple, so I haven't played any of these games before except just in preparation for this video. So don't expect any really razzle-dazzle gameplay here. Sound? Well, of course I want sound. Okay, I've got movement. Uh-oh. I have learned that the worm is not your friend. I don't know what the little dots are supposed to be that the aardvark is eating. Oh, there comes the worm again. And an ant. I think that it's okay for the worm to touch the tongue anywhere but on the tip. If that happens, oddly enough, the aardvark dies. Oh, apparently if an ant touches it somewhere, you die. But I do have left and right, up and down on the joystick, and if I press the button, it just retracts. I think I can get an ant head on. Yes, I can. The excitement is palpable. Now I'm wondering if I clear out this level, if no animals will come out on that level. I guess not. There is an ant coming out on the top level. Retract. Okay, there's already the aardvark. Now then, I'm just going to press the reset button. And now I get the option of going back to CPM 68K or continuing with the Apple emulation. And just so that everything starts on a good footing, I just go back to CPM 68K and start over from there. Let's remove Artie. Now let's try Robotron 2084. That in there. Restart the emulation. My, that data rate must be amazing on that drive. To be fair, it's not the drive. I'm sure it's all the overhead from the emulation. Robotron 2084. We'll skip all the instructions. That would take far too long. Just hit the space bar. Go right into gameplay. I'm going to select one for joystick. Oh good, I can move in all directions. Come on, city robots. Yeah, just line up for me. Oh, I didn't save any people. I can at least save this person. I can move much faster diagonally. I don't know how to kill that guy. Suppose I should read the instructions. Ooh, they are taking people right and left. Well, there's Robotron 2084. It might take until 2084 to play through a whole game at that speed. Let's return to our native mode. Remove that disk. Some games work and some don't. And some games almost work. Let's try one that almost works. Or I should say this one works with the keyboard, I think, but not with joystick. Oh, and I didn't hold it up for you to see. This is Apple Cider Spider by Cider Online. The little flashes of screen garbage are a bit interesting. Are we almost to the title? There we go. One player. Let's try the joystick. We better start on level 0. Now I can go left and right, but I can't go up. Yeah, and I can't get off of the little stick there. But you can see any game player would not be happy with this. It's just far too slow. So that's enough of Apple Cider Spider. And there it is right there. And as you would suspect, the text games do work very well. Here is Zork 1. And it starts off really quick. 1982. Goodness gracious, how time flies. Well, I'm sure you get the idea. Now, some games will play, actually they will play completely, but they're just so slow that it wouldn't be any fun at all. It's more like torture. And one of those is Cavern Creatures. And I can't for the life of me remember what it's similar to. Well, rather like River Raid. Now I have one more application, one more piece of software, and this one is actually useful. This is more like a desktop publisher. Alright, now the navigation on this is rather strange. You move left or right with the left or right arrow, as anyone would reasonably suspect. However, to go up and down, return is down, tab is up. Now, what does that leave for the execute key? I don't know. Perhaps the space bar? Nope, not the space bar. I don't know. I have found, though, that pressing a button on the joystick acts like a enter key or execute key. Ah, communications. Interesting. Well, there is no modem connected to this machine, so that will have to wait for a later time, I suspect. Okay, just reset. Now, one more minor thing before I wrap it up. The status bar at the bottom of the screen, you may see it say disks are A equals A, B equals A. What that really means, A is the format of the drive, and in this case that means that it is a 40-track 400K floppy. If it was an inverse video, it would mean that it was 80-track 800K floppy of the same type, CPM 68K. There are different letters for different formats, and I'll go into that in a different video. Well, thanks for watching the Apple II Plus emulation video.